Well, g'day, it's Jono Brake here with another round of Monday Myth Check, and coming to you today from the top of Hickory Mountain in DuPont Forest, Western North Carolina. It's the beginning of the riding season for me, which means that's been some of the hardest climbing I've done in a long time, and it's stuff that, you know, the hardest part is knowing that you can climb it. I have done in the past. But anyway, here we are. We're up on the mountain, last big hill, and now we're doing a big push down, a couple of miles down a famous trail called Ridgeline. It's going to be great. And just as I was riding today, I wanted to just think about this. This is obviously Monday Myth Check, and I wanted to think about this idea. So in mountain bike riding, everyone looks forward to the downhill, and the downhills are a lot of fun. Let's face it, they really are a lot of fun. And you think, well, you get to cruise. It's not hard. It's not as hard on your legs. It's, you know, that sort of thing. But there's so many reasons why that's a dangerous assumption to make. And I wanted to draw that correlation to business. You know, when businesses get into cruise mode and they're, you know, the equivalent of racing downhill and the wind's in your face and you feel good and everything's going past you really fast. And you start to think, hey, this is good. We're in a good shape. We're in good space. You know, we're really blessed. Things are growing. We're profitable, whatever it might be. Now, just like being on a mountain bike, the faster you're going downhill, the faster things are coming at you. I talked about in another video about rubber side down and this idea of being aware of what's under your tire at any time. Well, as this stuff starts to come at you faster, but when you're growing, when you're scaling, when you're going through, even just going through the motions, things just start to come at you, and either it's harder to pay attention to it, or you stop paying attention to it because it just feels good. It feels great to be doing well. It feels great to see the money, you know, growing in the bank if you're ever fortunate enough to have that or blessed enough to have that. And so, you know, so I want to bring these correlations. So if we just think that the cruise mode is where we should be, now don't get me wrong, there are times where it should be easier than others. You know, we should be working along on our work-life balance and the seasons that we operate in things. But if we just look forward to cruise mode, there can be those times in cruise mode where things can go horribly wrong. Maybe we're not paying attention to the financials anymore. Maybe we're not paying attention to our team as much because people are just doing what they should be doing. Maybe we scale back our marketing or scale back our training and development or coaching services or whatever it might be. And so there's all these things, and then that then makes it harder for us to see in the mountain bike equivalent, to see the rocks and the trees and the things that are coming at us faster and faster. And then the next thing you know, you're coming off. You're hitting a tree, you're going over a rock you shouldn't. You know, you've maybe hit a sandbank and sliding out. But think about that in the equivalent of your business. Maybe, you know, you've been profitable, but maybe your cash flow is running dry. Okay, I've had that personal experience myself. There's a lot of things that can go wrong if we just look forward to cruise mode and we think that cruising is the best way to be in business. The bottom line is we learn a lot in the uphills. And I've really struggled on these uphills today. Funnily enough, I had to go on a buddy's e-bike. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I had to go on a buddy's e-bike, and that really helped. But you know, most of it's been the work. I've had to pedal. Sometimes I've had to get off my bike and push. And so you know, we do learn a lot more in those uphill pushes. But we've got to find out, how do we keep paying attention? How do we put the fundamentals in place so when things are good and when we are cruising, that we're still paying attention. We're still looking for those areas. We're still deliberately trying to stretch ourselves and grow things. Because if we take our feet off and just freewheel it down, there's no doubt at some stage, either the hill's going to run out or we're going to hit something and come off. So something to think about today. If you're in a space where business is going well and you're finding things are in good shape, I want you to stop and have a look at your fundamentals. Are you still doing your objectives and key results? Are you still paying attention to your team and doing regular check-ins? Are you still coaching well? Are you leading well? Do you know what your strategy is? Is it time to check in on that? All these sorts of things. Take a stock of those. If you're in that mode and you've got that space, even if you haven't got that space, you should do it anyway, so that you can get to a place where you can start the downhill run. But remember, as you're doing the downhill run, continue to pay attention. So that's it for this week, Monday Myth Check, that just because we're cruising means that we don't have to worry. I'm Jono Brake, as always. Enjoy the journey.